Hey everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel. I'm Amy, and today we're making a classic Southern breakfast that's been around for more than 200 years. We're making biscuits and gravy, and this is a real stick to your bones kind of a breakfast. It's so filling and hearty, it gives you energy all day. It only takes about 30 minutes to put everything together, starting from flour and milk, so let's get cooking. We're gonna start with our biscuits, and now there are a ton of different versions of Southern style biscuits out there, but this one is my absolute favorite. First, preheat the oven to 450 degrees Fahrenheit because we want our oven to be ready when the dough is ready. Now to a large bowl, add 3 cups of all-purpose flour, 4 teaspoons of baking soda. I know it sounds like a lot, but it's necessary to get a really good rise to our biscuits. Add 1 tablespoon of sugar, 3/4 of a teaspoon of cream of tartar, and a teaspoon of salt. Give this a little stir with a fork to get the dry ingredients all mixed up, and don't lose your fork because we're going to need this fork again. Now come the sort of wet ingredients. We need a half cup of butter, which is 1 stick, and this butter needs to be really cold. You can pull it straight out of the fridge or even put it in the freezer for 10 to 15 minutes before you get going. Add the butter to the bowl, but it's way easier if the butter is in small pieces. You can dice it by hand into small cubes, but I found it easier to just use a shredder or a grater like this one. If you have a box grater, that would also be a great option. When the butter's added, you can see here how I moved it around a little so it wasn't in a big pile. We're going to use our fork to cut this butter into the flour. We want to work relatively quickly so our butter stays nice and cold. It should sort of look like sand when you're done. Next, we want a 1/4 cup or 4 tablespoons of shortening. If you don't have shortening, you can use lard or bacon grease. Essentially, you just need another type of fat. I'm using lard, which always works beautifully. So, same thing as the butter. You want the lard to be nice and cold and either cube it or shred it into the bowl. Then grab our trusty fork and cut that into the mixture. It won't look much different from the butter, like some very slightly clumpy sand. Now we're ready for our last, actually wet ingredient. We need 1 1/4 cup of either buttermilk or whole milk. Buttermilk is preferable because it adds a lovely distinct flavor to the biscuits, a slight tang, but whole milk will work in a pinch if you don't have any buttermilk. Now we grab our fork again and mix the milk into the flour mixture just until it's loosely combined. Don't overmix this because we really don't want to start activating gluten in the flour because that will make our biscuits way too chewy. The dough will be really sticky and gloppy looking, but this is exactly what we want. Now move to a clean work surface and flour it really well. Turn your very sticky and lumpy mess of dough out onto the surface. You may need a spatula to get it out of the bowl. Flour your hands, sprinkle a little on top of the dough so you can work with it. Now we want to gently shape the dough into a rough round and then fold it over itself. Gently press it down and fold it over again. We're not kneading the dough, and you don't want to put much pressure on it at all. Just gently shape it and fold it. This is going to create those lovely layers in our biscuits. Fold the dough 5, maybe 10 times, and then press the dough until it's about 3/4 of an inch to at most an inch thickness. It can be round, square. The shape right now really doesn't matter since we're going to be cutting biscuits out of this. Now grab your biscuit cutter. You can also do this with a round cookie cutter as long as it has a sharpish edge. Put some flour on the edge of your cutter and then press it straight down through the dough. Then pull it straight up again, and you don't want to jiggle it or twist it at all, just straight down and then straight back up. What that does is create cut edges that don't seal around the outside of the biscuit, which is what we want because it allows the biscuits to rise more in the oven. I've seen people use drinking glasses to cut biscuits, but the dull edge of the glass actually pushes the edges of the dough together instead of cutting through them, and it works against the dough. It essentially sabotages its ability to fully rise. The biscuits will still taste great, but they'll be flatter and more dense. Here is exactly what you're looking for. The edge is cut through, the biscuit has a good shape, but the edges haven't been crimped together. When you run out of space to cut out more biscuits, bring your leftover dough back together and just cut out more until you run out of dough. As you cut out the biscuits, place them on a parchment-lined baking sheet and make sure to place them gently against the side and just touching each other. This is another little step to help them rise because they'll use the side of the pan and each other to climb as they rise. This also keeps the sides of the biscuits nice and soft. When everything is ready, pop these in our 450-degree oven for 10 to 12 minutes or until the tops are nice and golden brown. While those are cooking, let's get our gravy going because you can't have biscuits and gravy without the gravy. Grab a large, heavy bottom pan like this one and add 1 pound of sausage to the cold pan. Heat this over medium heat and break up the sausage as it cooks. Cooking the sausage starting from a cold pan makes the fat render out more slowly and gently. It cooks the sausage more evenly and it prevents it from getting rubbery and dry. When the sausage is cooked through, check how much fat it rendered out. This amount of fat here is a little light, so I added a tablespoon of butter to the pan. Add a half cup of all-purpose flour into the pan with everything and stir it around continuously to cook out that raw flour taste. It'll only take about a minute, maybe 2 at most, and you'll see that a little flour film is going to develop on the bottom of the pan, which is perfect, and that's exactly what we want it to do. Now we start adding our milk in small amounts. Don't just pour it all in or you're more likely to end up with a lumpy kind of a gravy. Start small, like 1/2 to 3/4 of a cup, and mix that in thoroughly before adding more. Scrape the bottom of the pan and the milk will deglaze it as you stir. How much total milk you add, it really just depends on how thick you want your gravy to be. A really thick sauce that's almost like a glue would need 2 cups of milk. A happy medium would be 3, which is what I used, and a looser, not so thick gravy would be 4 cups of milk. Add salt and pepper to taste and just stir slowly until you're happy with the consistency. Look at this lovely gravy, and the sausage ratio is fantastic. You want to have some sausage in every bite, and this is absolutely peak sausage gravy right here. Just make sure to move this off the heat. While it will thicken a little more as it cools, we don't want to simmer this down any more than it already has. Add more salt and pepper here if you need to, but if not, this is ready to serve. After 11 minutes, here are our biscuits. They are so beautifully golden on top, they're not too dark, and they're so fluffy. These are going to be just perfect for our gravy. So let's check out one of our biscuits and pull it in half. But first, look at how much rise we got out of these biscuits. This is just lovely. It's beautiful and golden. Now, you shouldn't need a knife to open these. These are so soft and tender that they should just come right apart. The interior, so tender, not too chewy, definitely not crumbly and dry. These biscuits are just epic. Serve the gravy over the biscuit however you like. You can just plop the biscuit down whole if you want to. It's going to be unforgettable any way you eat it. But if you truly want a life-changing experience, whip up a couple sunny-side-up eggs, some coffee, another biscuit with some jam or maybe honey butter, and you have an absolutely legendary breakfast right here. This is just glorious. This is a classic for good reason. It's so hearty and tasty. The gravy is infused with the flavor of the sausage. It's just so savory and filling. It's so filling, like food coma filling. The perfect lazy Saturday morning breakfast with family or friends, and then you can all lay around and binge something as epic as the breakfast you just had. Game of Thrones maybe, Breaking Bad, maybe some Peaky Blinders. Ooh, no, Justified. Just eat up some biscuits and gravy and binge yourself some Justified, and your Saturday will be sublime, magical, yeah, all of that. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, leave me a comment if you enjoyed this video. It really helps my channel out. Come and hang out on Wednesdays for some spooky and fun Halloween recipes throughout October. I hope you have a fabulous week, and I'll see you back here next Sunday for another cozy, home-cooked weekend comfort meal. Bye!